It is extraordinary how the moment one headline comes up, or like the one in the Sun, or the moment Kate does something with her children, the Montecito media machine gets whirring up, immediately gets the retaliation in. And this is really all just part of the battle.
Every time Catherine, Kate Middleton, so much as takes a kid to a playground, the Sussex media machine in Montecito weighs into life. It's like clockwork. A flattering headline about Kate. Cue a look at us. We're thriving stunt from Meghan and Harry. And this past weekend was no exception. The backdrop here is brutal. Harry was recently caught on a London Ring doorbell cam looking, well, lost, agitated, and up to who knows what. His disastrous BBC interview is still haunting him.
No, he's not happy. She's clearly very unhappy.
So what the hell are you going to do when your husband has just been caught looking for God knows what in a random London street on a Ring doorbell? Not to mention the fact that the whole world has been completely disgusted by his car crash BBC interview, where he decided to reveal details of his father's health and use his children as some sort of weaponized pawn against the current cancer-stricken king. Oh, I know. Go on an Instagram mad weekend where we try and prove to the world at a Beyonce concert that we're actually madly in love. Of course, because this is Harry and Meghan, it went catastrophically wrong. Look at this slow motion video from the Royal Grift where they point out she is utterly repulsed by the PDA from Prince Harry. Look at this now. In slow motion. And then there is the horror on Meghan's face. Get away from me, man. Oh, but I'm going to have to post this anyway because I've got something to prove to the world. Then, of course, there's the hat, isn't there? And as the Royal Rogue pointed out, wait a moment, isn't that Catherine's hat? And of course, the obsession in terms of cosplaying Catherine has just been ratcheted up to a whole level. Meghan also posted the inside of the hat getting a twirl. Of course, the children are named within it. There's been so much reaction to this crazy night at Beyonce, where Meghan posted, "Thank you, Beyonce and team, for an amazing concert and a very fun date night. All love." Nancy Sidley wrote, "When you have to get your husband hammered just to take a picture. Meghan has a history of doing this to Harry." She added, "Harry and Meghan at the Cowboy Carter concert tonight. Once again, Harry looks thrilled to be there." Speaking facetiously, of course. And then there's the question of why they didn't attend. With all of the real friends of Beyonce, Meghan's mole posted, "Why didn't Meghan and Harry attend the April 28th Beyonce show at Sophia with their besties Tyler Perry, Oprah and Gayle? Most celebrities attended the first two nights, not the last." But of course, this is fundamentally a publicity stunt, as Tom Bauer pointed out on GB News.
He's wearing a pretty funky hat. This is a selfie. He looks slightly sweaty, as you'd expect at a concert, I guess. And Meghan also posted this picture of inside Harry's hat. So there's a British flag, there's a flag of the United States, there's the outline of the continent of Africa, there's Archie, Lily, and the words "my love," which I think is Meghan's nickname, right, Tom? Do you think he's happy, really, Harry?
Where he overshared about his father's cancer and somehow managed to weaponize his kids in the process. Meghan's latest business attempts are flopping harder than a bad Netflix pilot. So what do you do when your marriage looks frosty, your projects are tanking, and your husband is being clowned by tabloids for wandering the streets of London like a lost backpacker? You flood Instagram with a Beyonce concert date night. That's right. Nothing screams stability like posting pictures of yourself in a cowboy hat, sweating in a crowd, and insisting you're madly in love.
I think they're just actually brilliant media manipulators. It is extraordinary how the moment one headline comes up, or like the one in the Sun, or the moment Kate does something with her children, the Montecito media machine gets whirring up, immediately gets the retaliation in. And this is really all just part of the battle. No, he's not happy. She's clearly very unhappy because she's had some terrible reviews for her programs. But all they can do all the time is fire pot shots.
Yeah.
And we on this side are enjoying the spectacle because there's only one way that this can end in the end, and that's badly. But there's a lot more peaks and troughs and hijinks to go before we really see the climax of this astonishing saga.
And as the Royal News Network posted on X, Meghan Markle is so cringe. And based on the last picture, maybe a little hammered at the Beyonce concert, trying a little too hard to convince the world of love, I think. They look like immature teenagers, and that's not a compliment. Strip the titles, Charles. And Brittany, editor of RNN, joins me now. Brittany, this was quite a performance, wasn't it? And we know what this performance was all about. Meghan thinks if she floods the zone that we're going to forget that Harry's just been caught on a Ring doorbell doing God knows what, constantly proving that his security case was a joke from start to finish, that we're just going to forget that terrible BBC interview. But the point is, Brittany, what they're actually doing is drawing more attention to just what trouble they are in. But let's kick off with Beyonce. What did you make of this social media car crash?
Oh my gosh, I got the ick factor from most of the posts because the first one isn't bad, like the first picture. If she had just gone with that, I think that it would have been okay, thanking Beyonce for the concert. Although very notable, they did not get a picture with Beyonce at the concert. So how close are they is debatable. But this whole series of pictures, it was just meant as a huge distraction, and they just looked a bit ridiculous. She's supposed to be starting a brand, a company, apparently rebranding for, the sixth or seventh time now at this point. I don't think a concert is the way to go, but it was definitely a stunt to get a little distraction in based on the horrific headlines the two of them have had the last couple of weeks, because she also is dealing with another podcast flop as well.
And you're very right to point out, Brittany, the way that it works at these concerts is that if you're truly in the A-list, you get invited backstage. And we presume that didn't happen because we didn't see a picture of it. Really telling, isn't it, though, as well, that Harry and Meghan didn't attend on the same night as Oprah, Gayle King, and Tyler Perry, the trio who are all seemingly trying to distance themselves from the car crash of the Markles in public, at least.
Yeah, when it comes to the relationship with Oprah, like we haven't seen Oprah with Harry and Meghan in a couple years at this point. Meghan did go to the event with Tyler Perry, but he sort of looked somewhat dismissive of her at the same time. But when it comes to Harry and Meghan, they just generate constant negative headlines. And when you attach yourselves to them, you kind of get dragged into the toxicity, whether you want to or not, whether you think it's right or not, because some of them will complain, oh man, Harry and Meghan, I get associated with them and then everybody hates me for a while. And it just becomes evident that I think some people are just like, okay, we'll sort of associate with you on the side, but we don't want to be all that publicly associated with you either. Jessica Alba very carefully kept Meghan Markle out of any picture video type of thing at Kerry Washington's birthday, went out of her way. Like, you had to know Meghan was there to really spot her. And Meghan, of course, made herself known too, eventually to the press. But Jessica Alba went way out of her way to avoid actually being that publicly associated with Meghan Markle. And I think all of Hollywood is going in that direction.
Here's where we are. Harry looks increasingly lost, confused, and diminished. Meghan looks desperate to control the narrative, but every attempt backfires. Hollywood elites are keeping their distance. Comedy shows are mocking them. Their business empire is a carousel of failed rebrands. Their marriage looks strained, no matter how many sweaty concert selfies they post.
And the thing is, Brittany, we know what this is all about. It is all about that picture. It is all about the fact that Harry was caught in London by the Sun, looking completely wired in some way, charging up and down a street on his own, without security, on his mobile phone, apparently at a friend's place, Brittany, even though the friends no longer live there. What do you think was going on here?
I mean, it's just so bizarre. And think about it. The neighbors were talking about him going door to door, and someone didn't know who he was because I think they were all freaked out. He got this entire neighborhood block a bit on edge because he was like randomly going to their doors trying to track somebody down. And I find it exceptionally strange that somehow he didn't know his friend had moved or something like that. Does he just wander around and go to a friend's house unannounced? Because if you are truly somebody who has high security risk, even if it's a friend, you probably have your security or somebody double check, make sure they're there and make sure things are safe before randomly walking down the street and just knocking on whatever door you find. And I would understand, like me and as an American, the European addresses are a little different. So I would maybe probably have a harder time finding something. But it's like he lived in London most of his life. Like, where is he going? And then, of course, people are raising like other questions about what he was doing, but it's very bizarre. It does not make him look good. And again, shows and proves, I think, that the issue of security is not about the actual safety of their family. It's about the status attached to having IPP status and being recognized in foreign countries as royalty.
Well, of course, because if he gave a damn, Brittany, about his security, he wouldn't be doing this, would he? Just like he wouldn't have ordered Deliveroo to his friend's place, because that goes against Security 101 if you're a royal. So he doesn't actually seem to really care that much about his security. But I do agree, this was an absolutely devastating moment. And what's so fascinating is, in some ways, you could argue that Meghan would say, well, the Beyonce concert was a success because it managed to move on the headlines a little bit. But I think fundamentally what we see with Harry in both of these examples is a man in the middle of a meltdown, is a man who is lost, a man who doesn't know who he is anymore, a man who's really, I think, losing touch with reality. And both images actually were pretty tragic, although I do love the internet having quite a lot of fun with the Ring doorbell. Brittany, look at this one here. As if William is on the other side saying, you look familiar. Did we go to Eton together? But Brittany, the point is, this is a portrait of a man lost, of a man who has lost it all thanks to his wife. And maybe, just maybe, because we keep seeing that sort of glazed over look in his eyes, he's starting to realize it.
The strategy is simple. Flood social media with staged content where never bad press hits. The problem? It's transparent, shallow, and only fuels more mockery. What we're watching isn't just a PR blunder. It's a slow-motion implosion. A couple who once positioned themselves as global change makers are now little more than internet punchlines. At the end of the day, Meghan and Harry wanted to escape the royal machine and build a brand of their own. But instead of building, they're reacting. Instead of leading, they're copying. And instead of commanding respect, they're chasing relevance with increasingly bizarre stunts. Whether it's roses after Kate's roses, cowboy hats after Catherine's cowboy hats, or Beyoncé concerts without Beyoncé, every move screams insecurity, not independence. And Harry? The Ring doorbell footage says it all. He's not a prince in control. He's a man adrift. The flood the zone strategy might buy them a few headlines, but the tide has already turned. From South Park to SNL, from Oprah to Hollywood's Cool Shoulder, the world has stopped taking them seriously. And once the jokes start, it's hard to come back.